Here's a video for 8-3, which is 5-number summaries and box plots. So let's first talk about what a 5-number summary is. A 5-number summary consists of a minimum, which is the least value in a data set. The next value is called Q1, which is quartile 1, and that is the median of the lower half of the data set. Then we have the median, which is the middle value of the data set. So Q1 is in the middle between the median and the minimum. Then we have Q3, which is the median of the upper half of the data. And then we have the maximum, which is the greatest value in the data set. So one thing I want to point out, if we're saying that it's the median of the lower half of the data set, it does look like this is in the middle between this line and this line. However, this line doesn't look like it's in the middle. It's not in the middle in terms of these numbers, but in terms of how many numbers there are in the data set. So for instance, if there were, let's say 40 data values, that would mean at Q1, there would be 10 values to the left and 10 values to the right, because there would be 10 values here, 10 values here, 10 values here, and 10 values here. So that's what we mean by each quartile is 25% of your data. Where it is on the number line is irrelevant. But in terms of the data, we're talking a quarter of the data falls between these numbers, a quarter of the data falls between these numbers, et cetera, et cetera. So we can use a 5-number summary to make what's called a box plot or a box and whisker plot. So to make your box and whisker plot, your minimum value is the beginning of one of your whiskers. Then your next line is Q1, that's the beginning of your box, so you extend the whisker. And then the median is a line inside of your box, which can be anywhere inside of the box. Q3 is the end of your box. And then lastly, the maximum is the end of your second whisker. All right, so let's take a look at an example. It says the following data set represents the number of e-hall passes used by students in a week. Determine the 5-number summary and make a box plot of your data. So first thing we have to do is we have to put the data in order. So starting with the smallest number, it's going to be 1. Then we have 2 2s. Then we have, let's see, 4s, 1, 2, 3. Then we have 2 5s. Then we have 2 6s. Then we have 1 7. And then we have 2 8s. Okay, so first off, let's start with the min and the max. So the minimum is going to be the first number of my data set. So my minimum is 1. My maximum is going to be 8. Now we're going to find the median. So we're going to find the halfway point of the data. So first we need to count how many data points there are. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 data points, which means half of 13 is 6.5. So that means there should be 6 numbers on every side. So if I count, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So that means that this point right here is going to be my median. Okay, now we need to find Q1. So we're going to look at the lower half of the data. So here's our lower half, and we're going to find the middle of that. So on the lower half, we have 1. So we're not going to include the median in this. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 data values. So halfway is going to be here, which means my median has to be between 2 and 4. So remember, we add those and divide by 2. Well, 2 plus 4 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. So my Q1 is going to be 3. And then we're going to do the same thing for Q3. So here's the upper half of my data. We're going to cut it in half. So that means my median is going to be between 6 and 7. So we're going to do 6 plus 7 divided by 2. 6 plus 7 is 13 divided by 2, which is going to be 6.5. So Q3 is going to be 6.5. So there's my 5-number summary. My minimum is 1. Q1 is 3, median is 5, Q3 is 6.5, and maximum is 8. So just a reminder, in each quartile, there's 25% of your data. Remember, there were 13 data points originally. So between 1 and 3, there's 1, 2, 3 data values. So that's going to be 25%. Between 3 and 5, there's 1, 2, 3. So it basically splits our data into quarters. So that's what we mean by quartiles. All right, so now that we have our 5-number summary, now we can make a box plot. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to number my number line. So just like we did with dot plots, I'm going to start with my minimum and go to my maximum, and I'm going to make a number line. So I'm going to start maybe right here. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actually, let's go by every 2 is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And the reason I'm going by every 2 is because we can see we have a 6.5 and we have the room on our number line. Okay, so now to make our box plot, so I'm going to make a mark at each of the numbers in our 5-number summary. So starting with 1, we have a line, then we have Q3 or Q1, which is at 3. We have our median, which is at 5. We have Q3, which is 6.5. And then we have our maximum, which is 8. So the middle part is our box. And our line somewhere in the box is our median. And then we're going to extend the lines out to make our whiskers. So there's our box plot. So remember, we need to label our axis, just like we did with dot plots, our axis. So the x-axis here is this number of e-hall passes. And then we can give a title, so e-hall passes for 13 students.